Hey, Dawn, obviously a pretty comfortable win, but when this team has struggled, be it missing layups or letting lead shrink, is that just a product of playing so sporadically, or is it a case of there are still some adjustments to make from last year?
Probably a little bit of both, and a little bit of just adjusting to, you know, honestly playing in a dead gym. I mean, I think our kids are one that likes to feed off the energy of the crowd, and when it's 17% capacity, it's really hard. But it's a different team. We're still in this process of understanding each other and learning how to play and learning how to sacrifice you know and also just trying to find some grit. We need some grit. We need some grit. Grit is missing from this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
We have a question coming from Greg. His audio is not working. So, what's your message to Aaliyah been through the first part of the season, and how was she able to break out as she did tonight?
I think, with a player like Aaliyah, I mean, you have to stay consistent. She's had some great days for us, and we've been one to preach don't get too high with the highs or too low with the lows, and we haven't been, low with the lows because she has been, a fraction of who she's been over this first part of the season, and then you just stay at it. For us, um, she mixed in points in the paint, outside the mid range as well as the three. And I thought she did a great job at, even giving up some shots she could have taken. So she has some sacrifice to her game. We just need to get other people to join in that part of it because we're uh, although we're playing Florida, we're playing for something much bigger than, you know, much bigger than our conference, to be quite honest. So, what the coaches are just looking for, just more sacrifice, more grit, more the ability to give up a good shot for the best shot. To recognition of, if one of your, we were just talking to our coaches, if Destiny Henderson did not shoot the ball well. So if she's in a position where she's pretty accurate on the floor, I'm going to give up my good open shot for her good open shot, just to see if we can get her off a little bit because she's one that's going to have to score for us consistently. So it's getting our players to understand those moments. Because if you're open now, you're probably going to be open if she doesn't shoot the ball. So it is those type of instances that we're trying to get our players to recognize.
Keith, and then we'll go to Matt.
Coach, I know it's tough being off 25 days in between games. What were a couple things you really liked that you saw from your team? And then maybe a couple of things you got to really knock the rust off going into this coming week?
I mean, big thing that stood out was Aaliyah just, having a breakout game, and seeing her shot go down from all over the floor. And she rebounded extremely well. I mean, she only picked up 3 fouls, so she was able to play a lot of minutes for us. Um, I mean, for us, just layups. I mean, layups has been a nemesis of ours all season long, and I just think that once we miss, it just has you know a trickle down effect on the other end. We miss a layup, we give up an open three, we give up a wide open uncontested layup on the other end. So it's just a snowball. So we got to figure out how we can make layups and set up our defense once we do that, or set up our defense once we miss, one or the other.
Matt, and then Dick.
Coach, you guys ending the year hanging that #1 ranking banner, a fun moment for you guys and the fans. First, how do you like it? Second of all, what was the process and conversations like in hanging this into CLA?
I mean, of course, I mean, I like it because no one else in the country is able to do that. Um, too, the process was, what's the wording on it? I mean, we had a couple of options, and um, none of them said national championship. So, whatever was up there, it has to be what it is. But it was fun to kind of, you know, in that moment to see that. But you know, the task at hand is what's in front of us, and that's just try to, you know, get one that's next to it.
Dick and then Chandler.
From a coaching standpoint, can you talk a little bit about the challenges of having to switch opponents when maybe you'd already gone over everything with Ole Miss and all, and maybe Florida you had not scouted? And the second part of that is, I will tell my cardboard me in the stands to be a little bit more louder and make a little bit more noise for you.
um, I mean, we actually hadn't gone over Ole Miss, but it was Sunday when we got the call. And then we had practice already done at that point. So, and it wasn't a really dive into Ole Miss until Tuesday, Wednesday. So, and it gave Coach Law an opportunity to kind of, you know, get on it with our video coordinator Hudson Jacobs to kind of just fast forward and get some stuff up and load it up and get us ready to present to our team on Tuesday. So it was kind of cool, you know, cool for all of us to just kind of scramble. It was almost like those old, actually, I guess it's NCAA tournament when the bracket comes out, you just, you know, kind of make a break for the video, you know, your computer to get as many games as you can get on our next opponent and people in the bracket. So, you know, it had that postseason feel to do that.
Chandler and then Pete.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win today. Just talk to us about heading into the new year tomorrow. What are resolutions you most looking forward to in 2021?
You broke up a little bit. Did you say New Year's resolution?
Yeah, New Year's resolutions, and what are you most looking forward to in 2021?
I mean, I got a couple of more hours to figure out what I want to do, but a lot of times I don't make it through a week with it. I mean, I hope to have great health for everybody that's been impacted by COVID, as well as, you know, I hope that the vaccines work as they should, and no one else is affected by it. You know, I hope that we're able to continue to develop as a cohesive unit. I hope we can continue to try to work towards being connected and staying connected as a team, and, you know, continue to put a product on the floor that we all can be proud of.
Keith, and then we'll go to Keith.
Hey, Dawn. Aaliyah hitting the threes and then taking that ball full court down right at the end of the half. Is that the broadening of her game? And she said she gave you a little wink afterwards
She did.
on that thing, just to let you know that she's paying attention, I suppose.
It wasn't a wink. She was exhausted. She was trying to find her next breath. Yes, I mean, you know, what you saw today is kind of what we saw in the preseason. And unfortunately, it's taken a couple of games for it to kind of fully develop in game. You know, a lot of times players work on, you know, their games, and it works out so perfectly in practice, and then in the game it takes on another, you know, outcome. But for Leah, she's a hard worker. She's stubborn in that she's going to continue to work at it, along with, you know, just being dominant in the post. You know, I thought they gave her, you know, some single coverages at times. Sometimes I thought they crowded her space. And I thought for the most part, she handled those things extremely well. And then they left her open on the outside. And fortunately for us, that's one of the things that she brought back to the table. And I'm glad it showed up today, because we really needed it.
Keith, and then we'll close it out with Dick.
Coach, this is one of the only games I can remember where you got outscored on bench points. It was 15-6, only 6 points off the bench. Was that partially a product of Aaliyah and Zaya really having it going, or you know, just not as many players, not as many minutes tonight?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had to make some adjustments because LA got herself in a little foul trouble. We usually play her a lot more than what she played. And then our substitution patterns got a little off a little bit because we tried to play Lily a little bit at the one just to give her some reps, just in case we need her down the stretch. She played a lot of one uh, over the break. And she did, an incredible job, running the one for us throughout the week. But again, when you get to the games are a lot different. The court is smaller. It just seems like there are more defenders out there, and 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 it mucks up a little bit. But it, I think if she can get it in a game, I think she creates another option for us. Because here's why, they're not going to play her otherwise. They're going to sit on our post players if they're on the wing. But if the ball's in her hand and she's coming off some ball screen action, they have to guard her in those instances. So, hopefully we can develop that over the next couple of weeks, and maybe midway through the season we'll be able to play her, some real minutes at the one.
And last question today.
Florida said their game plan was basically to let Aaliyah shoot the three, and I think they were giving Bill the three also. Do you expect to see that a lot more, and do you feel comfortable with them out there shooting?
I mean, we've come to expect that, along with crowding our big space. Aaliyah's gonna shoot the ball. I mean, we want her to shoot the ball because she's very capable of doing that. Bree, we want her to shoot the ball, but sometimes there's opportunity to put other people in positions where we create another option. Because if they're going to play off her, they're going to play off of her for the entire possession. So, give somebody else a look and then get yourself ready to knock it down in rhythm. And I think that's probably one of the things that we're gonna have to work on with Lily and Bree. But it was hard to. I mean, we got some sets obviously to put them in positions where people have to play them closer to the basket. But I just thought that some of the things that we were doing, keeping Aaliyah on the outside and allowing Zaya some room to operate, to get to the basket or kick it out to Aaliyah, who had wide open shots. So you know we are a work in progress, and we got to continue to get our players to understand some of the things that are happening out there. I think sometimes when players, when teams play off of you 30 feet, it plays on your confidence, and it's hard to not shoot that basketball. But I think for Bree and for Lily or for other players that they play off of like that, you got to think beyond that. You gotta think beyond. You gotta think beyond you being wide open, and that's really, really hard when it's you're the target of, no one's guarding you.